I was going to make a proper video about this, and then I realized it's kind of just a bit of a rambling thought. So I just said I'll upload it quickly now as I'm finishing up for Friday. It's one thing I've realised about the dialects in Irish that I find super interesting, and I've really realised it over the last year or two, is when people are talking about the three major dialects, Connacht, Munster and Ulster, they always talk about it as if they're separate entities. You know, it's almost like a triangle, just 3 points. They don't relate to each other in any specific way, or it's not like you have two on one side and one on the other. But what I've realised is with a lot of things, there's kind of a north-south spectrum almost with things in the language. So Ulster being the most northern, obviously, Connacht, and then Munster. So what do I mean by this? I think there's a lot of things in the language where in Ulster you've one extreme, in Munster you have the opposite extreme, and then Connacht falls into the middle. Great example is the pronunciation of the MH or the BH. A lot of you guys who speak any level of the language really will know that an MH or BH can be pronounced as a kind of W sound or as a V sound. And what's funny is if you go down to Munster, it's religiously pronounced as a V. So were you will be on rev to, it'll never be on row to. Doing will be agaibh, for example. You go up to Ulster, then you'll have on row to, it'll be pronounced with a W sound, agaibh for doing. So again, pronounced with that kind of U sound at the end on the MH. But even something like hand will be low. Okay, so it's almost religiously, again, pronounced just the other way, up in Ulster. And then what's funny, in Connacht, it kind of falls somewhere in between the two. So in Connacht, you'll sometimes get agaibh, but normally agaibh. For hand, it'll be lámh, so that's more so the Munster pronunciation. But in Connacht, where I grew up anyway, it was always on row to. On row to. It would never be on rev to or go rev or anything like that. And I've noticed that with a lot of things in the language. Maybe no one cares, but I think it's quite interesting. This idea that a lot of things in Irish work on a kind of north-south spectrum. So, yeah, hope that makes sense. Have a good weekend. Buon taitneamh as an seachtaine.